The other day, Alexander aka Kofri wrote this on Twitter. If you want to deliver a cross-platform MVP fast, use React Native. If you want to deliver a great product, use React Native slower. Obviously, since Alexander is working a lot with React Native, it just makes sense that he would endorse it. What is interesting, however, is the response this tweet got. If you want to deliver a great product faster, use Flutter. Until you discover Flutter, that is, using React Native is like refusing to learn calculus and insisting on building a rocket, and old school React Native, trend Flutter. And goes on without even making a tweet about Flutter. So this got me thinking, why is it still all about this React Native versus Flutter debate when, let's be honest, both are on the same side? Now, I know you're probably already thinking about this in terms of features, community, etc., which is right. But another approach, a smart approach you can have to this question, I feel, is more future oriented. What I believe is that when people engage in these oppositions, they focus on what can be compared today, but they completely forget about what's ahead of us. And when you change your mindset about this, React Native versus Flutter becomes an absurd debate to have. To understand why this makes no sense, you actually need to look at the signs from the present. People are using their computers for work, games for some, and phones, tablets, TV for everything else. And this, as you know, will keep going this way. Social media, digital entertainment, the way we know it today, is mostly consumed on phones, many hours a day for most of us. So when I see Flutter or React Native Web being a huge deal in a world where we are more mobile app focused than websites, besides making progressive web applications, to me this is partly oriented to the past of applications, not the future. This is good to have, sure, but definitely not a game changer in the long run. You could then still argue that based on cross-platform mobile development, Flutter or React Native is better than another, although to be honest, both do quite well in this field, but let's say one is better than another. Both of these are not the way of making an app natively, based on the platform standards at least, but they are accepted. If you want my opinion, that is sort of using Flash back then when you could build a website using different technologies, and that was okay for a long time. But when it became deprecated on Apple devices, it was a matter of a few years before it's been entirely eradicated from the web. So you could say this was a security matter, but it's been said that Steve Jobs also had hard feelings about Adobe when doing it, and then decided to kill one of their products. We know the history Apple has with progressive web apps and how its standards can vary over time. It would be quite a terrible move to remove React Native apps tomorrow, but look, they could just say they're against over-the-air updates, since once you got the user's permissions for something, you could just send another app bundle without getting approval from the app stores and secretly sucking up all a user's information. And that could just happen tomorrow for security reasons. But anyway, let's say this doesn't happen. What's clearly coming after the mobile era, if not virtual reality for now, is augmented reality. And we have evidence of this coming in the near future, where you would see an interface blending in with the real world, taking pictures from what you see, or even scanning and downloading small apps on the go. Yeah, if that rings a bell to you, that's exactly what iOS app clips are for. You scan a QR code, then download a sub-part of an app to quickly interact with the world. AR glasses are coming, and although phones certainly won't disappear, phones probably being extensive controls for the glasses, just like the remote for a TV, the way we make apps is definitely going to change, and we have no guarantee that it will still be possible to use React Native and Flutter for that. So we could ignore this big wave coming straight on us that could potentially be the right opportunity for Apple and Google to wash up these new ways of making cross-platform applications, but I think it's also good to know that we are not in charge here. Flutter and React Native are not the industry standards and have no power over what these devices will be coded with, although we like to think it does when we see SwiftUI, for example, and its big similarities with how React works. There is just no proof of these two giants working hand in hand to make one way of building apps for the next devices, and it's almost certain this won't happen. So rather than debating on which additional layer based on native is the best today, each one of us should think long term and consider these solutions as simple toolboxes, each one as useful as the other, and adapting to each type of developer. Let me know what you think in the comments, and remember to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.